McCollum to the Colored Corner. Hi.
Thank you for having me. How you doing?
I'm doing well, and I can tell you are because you had a big smile on your face
Yes,
when you walked in.
Absolutely.
Okay, first question. What's something about Conroe that everybody should know that nobody knows?
Lake Conroe is not as bad as everybody makes it out to be. I grew up on it, and it's actually a fabulous place to be.
Not as bad. What do people say?
It kind of has a bad rep. I don't know. It just you know, people always say that it's not a good lake, but I disagree. I grew up on it, and that's probably my favorite thing about the town.
Do you fish?
Yes, ma'am, quite a bit. When we get the chance to. Not near as much anymore, being on the road this much.
Right.
But yeah, I'm a big fisherman, big hunter.
Did you have your own bass boat?
When we were younger, we did. We had a few boats, but no, my days, you know, getting to do that all the time are kind of behind me. This is pretty much what I do 24/7.
Yeah, well, now you're a grown-up. You have to work.
Yes, ma'am. That's right.
Well, that's cool. And is there anything that you would say about the Woodlands that people don't know? I'm just trying to...
Hey, Carl and Jack Ingram are from there.
See, you got all the answers.
Nobody knows that.
That's cool.
I was raised in Conroe and then moved to the Woodlands in junior high and went to high school there. And I listened to Texas music, you know, from a really young age.
Right.
And kids from, you know, my friends in Conroe knew who they were. You know, we all grew up more out in the country and not near as much in neighborhoods. So when I moved to the Woodlands, you know, they were all from the Woodlands and they had no idea who Hayes Carl or Jack Ingram were. They didn't even know.
So you showed them.
Yes, I did. But I was kind of weird, I think, for listening to those guys for a little while. And now they're all just like, man, I had no idea.
Yeah, well, that's fascinating.
Yes, ma'am.
You're a walking encyclopedia. Let's talk a little bit about Parker's music. One of the things that is of great interest to me is listening to your album. I hear a lot of things in the music that sound country.
Yes.
And then I hear a lot of things in the lyric and in the presentation of the singing that is not.
Right.
Is that on purpose?
I don't know if I would be able to honestly say it's on purpose, but I would say that I try to, I guess, gear my songwriting to almost clash with the music in a way. I grew up, you know, I grew up listening to like real traditional country, 90s country, a lot of really old country and outlaw country. And then as I kind of got into songwriting and music, it was more along the blues and blues guitar, and you know, I'm a huge John Mayer fan, closet John Mayer fan. A lot of people don't know that. I don't admit it as much
I
as
know
I probably
you've been
should.
compared to him.
Well, that's always flattering, but I try to kind of, I guess, be in between all of those genres.
You're just being you.
Yeah, I feel like there's a nice way to mix all of those things, and you know, hopefully whoever's listening to the record got that.
Well, this is your first album. How long have you been playing music?
I started playing and writing when I was probably 12 or 13, but I wasn't trying to pursue a music career probably until about 2 years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, I was always playing. It's always what I wanted to do, but I had to go to school in Austin for a year just to get my parents to let me move to Austin right after high school. And 3 years later...
And you didn't go there for school?
I didn't go there for school. I don't even think I really went to school. I didn't go a whole lot of days.
You and Django Walker, huh?
Yes, yeah, that's good company. That's really good company. I'll take that. But
yeah.
I went to community college for a year just so they would let me move out there. And then I met my producer, Corby Schaub, and that was enough school for me.
Okay. And what did you learn from Corby?
How to make records, really, and how to just kind of go about representing yourself in the music business, you know, treating everybody the same, and basic things like that, things that apply really to everywhere in life that'll help you grow in the music business. He taught me a lot. You could, I guess, some people say he took me under his wing, but I think he really just liked hanging out with us.
Well, I like what you said, because the music business happens to be a part of life.
Yes, ma'am.
And if you treat it differently, it may not treat you so well.
That's right. It's you definitely are going to get what you give.
The Limestone Kid, why is it called that, your album?
I grew up the summer times. I grew up in Conroe, but in the summer I would, me and my cousins would work on our grandfather's ranch in Limestone County, which is just outside of Waco.
Nothing geological here.
Yeah, no, not really. It doesn't really have anything to do with actual limestone, but we'd work out there all summer long, and that's where we were listening to all the guys that kind of influenced us playing music. So when it kind of came time to make the record, and I was listening to all these songs I'd written, I just kind of came across the Limestone Kid, and I was obsessed with the record The Houston Kid by Rodney Crowell.
Yes.
And I was always really
yes.
fascinated with Billy the Kid. So I kind of just took that, my interest in it, and put my own spin on it. And it's just kind of a person, I guess, that I am in my head at times.
Well, it's interesting that you referenced the Rodney Crowell album, because if there's anything that album really conveys, it's a sense of place and a sense of how a person becomes a person.
Yes, ma'am.
Was that in your mind?
I think so. I guess you know, he's a Houston kid. He talked about being a Houston kid on that album, and that whole album's kind of wrapped around that idea of where he grew up. And you know, I only spent the summers in Limestone County, but that's, I mean, that is like, when I look back at any part of my childhood, that's the most.
That had a real
Yeah.
influence.
I don't really see anything but those days. So.
Was it because you were away from the normal things? Was it the freedom of summer? What really made it so important?
Yeah, it could be that. I think it was just, you know, it was me and my older brother and our cousins, and we grew up every day of our lives together, and then, you know, our parents had control over us when we were home. And then we would go with Grandpa to the ranch all summer long and wouldn't come home for 2.5 months, and there was no rules. There was, I mean, it was, you know, you can't talk about it on Shane's Media Corner. But, I mean, we just grew up a way I don't think a lot of kids really get to, with some freedom. But it was, you know, we definitely learned our manners and learned our lessons.
Oh, yeah.
And Grandpa, he wasn't easy on us.
No.
But it was a way of life that I wouldn't change or trade for anything in the world. So.
Well, it sounds wonderful, and you're right. I think too many children don't have those experiences anymore.
Correct.
Something's falling.
That's
Oh
probably my dog.
well. Well, Wrigley, you had nothing to do with that. We do have a nice dog here.
Wrigley got to make the trip.
Wrigley. So, when you're playing outside of Texas, what do you miss the most?
Probably Wrigley.
Wrigley.
Yes,
She can't go on the road.
Yeah, there's no girl right now or anything as of recently. So I mean, I tell the band all the time. I say, I think I miss my dog more than anything else. I'd never had one before. I just got her in April.
Oh, okay. So
Yes.
this is a new love.
Yeah, she's brand new. She just had her she just turned 6 months old. So
Wow, that's cool.
I wish I could take her with me. Today was rare.
Well, I'm glad you brought her in.
Thank you.
So you have a new song out,
Yes.
and it's called
High Above the Water.
High Above the Water, and it's fairly introspective. Wouldn't you? Is that fair?
Kind of, yes.
Yeah.
It was the only song I didn't want to put on the album. I didn't want to record it.
And how come you did?
I don't know. I was thinking about this on the way here. People ask me all the time, and I've given several answers, but my older brother has kind of taught me everything I knew about songwriting growing up. And so when I had written that song right before we made the record and I showed it to him, he was kind of like, "That's the best you got?" And I just, you know, when I wrote it, I was like, yes.
Wow.
And he was like, "That's the best you got?" And I was like, "Oh, okay,
That hurts.
never mind." All right. You know, I just held his approval so high for so long.
Sure.
So it was actually Corby Schaub who, when we went to make the record, he was like, "Man, let's just cut it. Just cut it and see how it turns out." And I think it just got into the top 50 on the Texas charts. So I'm very proud of that.
That's great.
Yes, ma'am.
So if people want to find out where you're playing, what you're doing, where you're going to have Wrigley with you, where do they go?
Hopefully Wrigley will be there all the time. You go to parkermccallum.com, facebook.com/parkermccallum,
Okay.
Twitter, Instagram. If it's on the internet, we have it. For
You're
sure.
there.
Yes.
Okay. The album is called The Limestone Kid. Parker McCollum. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you guys for having me. Okay, yes.
Now you get lots of love. Yeah, you do.
I've never been on camera before.
Yeah, you do.